I want to ask probably maybe one of the most important questions right away, and that is, in terms of workforce planning, from your perspective, where does it break down? Where are the areas where we need to be looking and proactively planning because we can get into trouble in these different areas? Like if you could kind of like define that, why it's so difficult to build and execute a true workforce plan these days?
Yeah, I think it's a challenge to get all the right parties to come to the table. And I think if you're looking totally just the direct hire, full-time employees that HR and TA would be responsible for, I believe business units or segments within your business at any company, they likely do some form of workforce planning. They probably have a 3 to 5 year business plan in place that should include planning for workforce expansions or growth or contractions or whatever else may be, new sites, closing sites. All that stuff doesn't normally get shared. Maybe their HR partner is in the loop as they're doing this, but it's considered confidential. So it doesn't get shared, or we don't know if that 3 to 5 years will happen because business conditions have to warrant it. I think, that a lot of times they don't get past that HR partner that's part of that business unit team. So they don't even come back and tell their boss in greater HR. It doesn't trickle over to TA. Some companies may be better than others, and you start getting some of that information shared that, hey, we might have a project to do in this corner of the world or corner of the States. I think the hard part is then when you start weaving in contingent workforce, which should be part of that 3 to 5 year plan because you can't hire everybody as an employee. Now you need procurement to start getting looped in on some of that too. And in a lot of cases, they don't have the relationships with HR in those business units, and they're not going to hear about that. So we don't often pull in what at some companies maybe 30, 40, 50% of the workforce, the person who actually holds the keys to those programs. So I think as a result of not being in the know, both TA and procurement are forced to have programs and infrastructure that winds up being reactive instead of proactive. So we love to be strategic. We love to plan ahead and think a few moves ahead. But if they don't loop us in, we really have to stick with being reactive.